Yeah, so here we are. Good afternoon, Mark.
Good afternoon, Assis.
It's great to have you in my flat. And so welcome to the podcast. And I'm just going to introduce you. We met at summer camp by the Happy Startup School exactly 2 months ago today.
Is it 2 months ago today?
2 months ago today, yeah.
That we saw each other and ignored each other for the whole of summer camp.
Yeah, for 3 days.
Really beautiful, right? Beautiful way to meet first.
We kind of created a great connection from just seeing each other. And I feel like our connection started a week after summer camp, didn't it?
It did. It felt like the universe kept putting us together, and eventually we had to talk.
Yeah.
So it was funny that we both saw each other at summer camp. I thought, I can't speak to that person, and then didn't, because there's so many amazing people there. You can't get around everyone. And then we went to a book launch the next week, and I was really tired and wasn't sure I was going to go after the weekend.
It's also called the Inclusion Journey as well.
It was called the Inclusion Journey. So yeah, the amazing work that Watch This Space, Mo and Allegra and team are doing, and we sat next to each other and did some group work. But then it was only when we stood up at the end that we first kind of shared a little bit about each other, and then realised, there's a bit of overlap here. Maybe we should explore this. Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, it kind of felt like a mirror, because you were saying you want to you want to inspire people with your story, and you've had such a profound life journey from something that happened to you at a really early age. The fire that you were in, and just the journey of life that you've been on since, and now you're in a place where you're sharing that with the world. And I think that immediately hit me as well, because it was just like, it touched me in 2 ways, because I was like, I'm really inspired the way that you carry yourself, and just from that first interaction, that when we spoke. And then it also was making me feel like, and I feel like you have this effect on a lot of people, is it made me feel like, maybe like I should be sharing more of my own journey. And it was like, it wasn't in a way to be like to look at me kind of thing. It was more of a connection thing.
Yeah.
Because what you shared about the journey I've been on, and now like empowering others, it kind of felt like a forward motion, and then it kind of made me be like, I want to meet you there. You know what I mean? So we can kind of go together on this path.
Yeah.
We're always coming through.
Yeah, and it feels like the last few weeks since then has been like that. We've been sort of pushing each other along on our own paths, and big overlap. And that, I mean, it's really kind of you to say those words. I think, you know what, I don't have the answers for people, but you know, I figured out a lot of stuff myself by looking at my own journey and realizing that the teachings that my own journey has offered up for me, and just coming to terms with that and understanding that, but then in the context of having incredible people around me. So that's something that I'd like to share with the world. And too many people have this outside in view, and really a lot of the answers are from the inside out. And you know, and then getting to know you more and realizing that you've been through a bit of that journey yourself, and understanding and owning who you are, and then putting that into your work, and then helping other people. And we then went down that journey with you to you did some work with me, and it was pretty phenomenal to the way you helped me clear up the crazy busyness that's always going on in my head.
Yeah, because to touch on that, it was we initially just met for a coffee, didn't we? And we exchanged, that sounds weird, but like we just basically just hung out and just shared like each of our stories. And we had like 2 hours, didn't we, where we just like hung out, and you shared like this journey you've been on and through, and then I shared mine, and then we got speaking about an event that you had. You were dreaming in your mind. It was just a dream at that point.
It was, yeah. So it was more like an hour and 40 minutes that we talked for, because I went to the wrong coffee shop to start with. So do you remember I had to make a dash across town to meet you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm part of this, a member of this organisation called the Speakers Collective, and we're a collection. There's 160 of us at the moment, of people who talk about our lived experiences. Now that could be anything from having a big traumatic, event like myself, all the way through to people who are suffering day to day with some sort of chronic illness or neurodiversity, and how do you get to the point where you can own your own story and then get up on stage and share it to help and inspire other people. And we, as the collective, we were going to do it in London, but then the venue wasn't viable anymore. And I'm very lucky that I know quite a few people down here in Brighton. So I just looked into my network and the fabulous projects that I'm now a member of, a co-working space. Alex, who's just super smart, head of that, said it'd be great that we could do this, but if you make it a free and an open event for members, we'll give you the space for free. And it's a stunning space.
Yeah.
And then it was an opportunity for the Speakers Collective to host their summit, not just as a closed event for members, but let's open. The collaboration is one of the key things that is part of the DNA of the Speakers Collective.
Yeah.
So therefore, why don't we open this up? And I think Brighton is a very, very special place, and there's a lot of people that want to talk about the lived experiences, want to help people. We're a city built on collaboration in so many areas, with so many solo entrepreneurs and SMEs. It's the bedrock really of the how business is done down here. But we needed to fill that, and to create and curate a really vibrant day with different speakers and different workshops. And after going through the process of you with this new direction you're going through your work, and how impactful it was for me, and hopefully we'll talk a bit more about that.
Yeah. Well,
I just thought it was a brilliant way for you to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Own your own story on stage. I don't know if that's the first time that you've done that in front of so many people, but it was bloody inspiring. And then to do a bit of the workshop, which is a small taster of what you want to then do with your clients going forward.
Yeah, there's a lot to touch on there. I think one thing to come into was the way that because initially we were going to, because after just catching up, we put a day in the diary, didn't we, to do a design day together, and we were going to do a brand. That's how we were going to use the time to create a brand for the event. Yeah. And then we met, didn't we? And then it turned out to be, we repurposed the day quite spontaneously. Yeah. And said, you know what, let's not do a brand as you traditionally would do. Let's actually just share like who you are, what your vision is, like where you see yourself going, and what your process would be to get there. We really went into it was like a free flowing conversation where it just flowed out. Yeah. And then and I was just recording it. So I had my voice recorder on my phone, recording it, and taking notes, and we were just free flowing, weren't we? And then after that we went to look for inspiration around town. So it very much collecting the words and downloading the story in its rawest form, and then we went and around town and found visuals that connected you to things that you see, what are you attracted to, and then looked at sounds and what music you're attracted to, so that kind of to give this story that had come out of you different senses. And it'd be really cool to just to hear how that experience was.
Yeah, you definitely took me out of my comfort zone, but in a good way. And I've done many brand sessions over the years, and they've all been a bit the same, and it's lots of whiteboard sessions and keywords and post-it notes up there, and I don't know, they're a much of a muchness, and I just don't know if it's sometimes I've almost felt with brand sessions that it feels like you're in school a bit and you want to complete that class and do well and please the brand advisors. You know, you want to perform well, especially if you're in a team environment. But as a solo entrepreneur that I now am, that method is like way over the top for what I need, right? And I mean this in the most positive way, that your sort of lo-fi, underproduced way, it's exactly what I think I needed as an individual with where I'm at. And I'm very sort of logical and have lots of ideas, and I'm really good at connecting them in my like a mind map, but it's more matrixy, and sometimes I get some visuals from it. Like I think I came with the idea of a reservoir that I was walking around, and that was my life stories, but it didn't get much beyond that. And you took that and sort of ran with it, and the lack of structure and just allowing me to talk, and then the way you listened, and then the way you reached in and what you brought out of me was like nothing that I'd done with anyone before. And then before resting on that, it's almost like you were warming me up. You were warming up the right side of my brain, you know, being left brain dominant, is that right? Yeah, the right side, yeah. And I think as a society we have become way too left brain dominant, where we need the creativity of the right brain to come in more, and our instincts and emotions and all that kind of stuff. And then suddenly you're taking me out on the town and we're looking at different things, and it's like, oh no, he's taking me into a bookshop. And for the first 5 minutes in the bookshop, I was just like trying to find some visuals, and I was just trying to please you at that point. I was like, no, trust the process, go for it. And then all of a sudden it's just stood in the middle of this bookshop. I'm glad it wasn't Waterstones, because there wasn't many people around in the one we were in. And it just started flooding out of me, and I'm talking about benches and this idea and all these different things. And yeah, it was, I was like, what is happening? What are you doing to me? And I think it was just the way that you really got, as I said, reached deep into my soul almost, brought it back out, then knew that you needed more for you then to be able to play it back to me. I need that turned into something that I can then use. So I needed to give you raw materials, visuals, things that inspired me based on my feelings and my ideas, which you then took away and packaged up and then came back. And I was like, wow, that's exactly like the mirror that I needed. And that's exactly, it was almost like you gave me it's like a timestamp of where my like busy brain was at that time. But by seeing it back in, you know, a visual book form, suddenly just creates so much more clarity for me, you know, in terms of what my path is going forward, and simplifying that crazy sort of, you know, mind map that's in my mind. And that was just all I needed, and it was very impactful, and didn't cost the absolute earth like, you know, proper brand strategists do, because they need a minimum amount that they're going to, you know, to make their business sustainable, whereas what you're offering is creative and different and affordable.
Yeah, because and on that as well, it's like, because initially when we were talking about brand, like we had the vision of a logo, and then we're having the vision of a website, and we're having these visions of these tangibles that are up here.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like, well, what we then did was almost like we just got rid of all of that. It's almost like we said, you know what, we're going to create a brand, and this is everything we want, and we just collected all that and just launched it out the window, and then just made sure we couldn't see it anymore. And then it had like the open sky, and then just said like hello, and then it was just like, what's your name? I don't know your name. and then we just like went into like, tell me about the journey, and we just almost like just eased into it. And it was more just like, instead of like going on this predictable path, like just get rid of the path. And it's like there's no path. Like, and it's like you get to decide what happens from this moment forward. And like it was that whole, and I'm kind of speaking from a point of just almost like adding the reasoning for offering to do this way, because it's like when like this is a whole thing of like, if you're not a quote unquote designer, like you feel like you're unable to do anything creative. And that's the thing that I'm instilling in people is making people believe that I am a creator, you know. And like we're born to create, you know, procreate, you know, like that's one of our like primal needs to like create, you know. And I think that's what is instilling in people is that energetic, like cool, like what's actually going on. Like I can break something, I can change something, I can make something. And then like if you can do that, and it's like not going off tangent too much, but like most people like make dinner, you know. And it's like if you can make dinner and you can feed yourself, then like you should be able to make a business that is functional. And it's maybe going on a bit of a tangent there, but it's a whole thing of just putting that belief into you, and also kind of realizing that a logo is a logo, but like what is a logo anyway? Like why do you have to do that? It's like it becomes, it's like people pleasing. So I think kind of really bringing it down, it was just allowing ourselves to create. And I think that's why we went like this, didn't we? And then packaged it into a story.
Absolutely. And it was, you know, it was like sort of art meeting business ideas in a way. Whereas a lot of people I've worked before, it's like business and business. It's almost like the same person. Yes, there's creativity in there, but often they're following kind of set rules and set patterns, whereas there's a kind of an artistic freedom with what you do to create something, throw it out, clear the sky, start again, what we do, because that's what sometimes the process needs. So the fact that you kind of allow that freedom, and then there is this kind of creative conflict's probably not the right word, but a creative mix in the middle that like mixing two paints together, and then a different colour will eventually emerge. So they're not competing against each other, they eventually then, you know, create a whole new idea, rather than, you know, either being one or other. So it's so it's like very, very unique.
Now it's the phone telling me it's going to
low battery. We've been rambling on, haven't we? But it's been a brilliant chat. But I just think it's something that you really need to pursue, because it's very different to I think what's out there. And I think you're, you know, tell me if I'm wrong, but I just think you're really, really good like one-to-one with people, and just like sit there and just give that time and really listen. And that's quite I think a rare skill to have, with the way that we're so distracted with our phones, and to have that attention span, and you just hold that space one-on-one, which is, you know, it cuts through the noise of like modern day society and how we're on the go all the time. So it's a really nice contrast to how we live.
And it contrasts back to you, because I feel like I want to share with you like what kind of really brought me to you, or like wanting to like to create and do this for you, is the energy that you have, the way that you carry yourself, and the journey that you've been on, and the way that you now hold yourself and face the world, and in such a positive, vibrant way. And you like the amount of transitions that you've had throughout your life to where you are now, where you're like being on all these different transitions, and I'm here right now and I am just rolling with it, but I know I'm going up the mountain, and I want to be a speaker who is known for sharing stories of adversity and helping people to conquer adversity, and find tools and ways around it. And for me, just when you said the word adversity, like that just like clipped me, because the way that you said it as well, it wasn't heavy, it was very much like enriching. It was like, it's very much like, you can do this, you know what I mean? Let's go up that mountain, like we you might be struggling, but I've got you. And it's that whole thing of you being a super connector, you know, like, and we've spoken about this, and it's like the one skill out of all the skills, like you've got so many skills, but the one thing that you're amazing at, and just the not just but like the Speakers Collective summit that you collaborated with them on to bring that together, the way that you like just created that like container in a way that was bringing the right people in, and it was just an idea when we first spoke, but the way that you then kind of met the John and Joe from Speakers Collective and Marcus, and had the idea was like starting to form, and then you kind of put a date in the diary so you already knew when it was going to be, and then you like molded it, but then you brought the right people in, you kind of got your venue sorted out, and then you kind of like you pulled me in, and then you pulled another person in, and then you're kind of like other people dropped out, so you pulled in the next person, and it's almost like you were knitting. You know what I mean? Like you had this like canvas, and it was kind of like things were kind of like tearing away, and you was kind of just like, okay, cool, that's cooler. Like if you can't make it, cool, that's the doorway out. But it wasn't anything. There's no toxicity, you know. It was all kind of very natural, flowing, and then the way that the event went, it flowed beautifully. You know, like how it opened, how it closed. It opened on time, it closed on time. Like people were talking afterwards. Like there was a really good turnout, and it kind of came out of nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a real talent that it's almost like intangible. You know, like for example, like if you said I'm a super connector, it's like, oh cool, like you need to feel it.
Yeah.
You know, and like I think that's the real draw for me. It's like when I see that quality in someone, I want to really make it tangible. So then people be like, oh, he's a super connector. That sounds great. But okay, this is why he's a super connector. And having a tangible book, it's like page 1, like this is who I am.
Yeah.
Like page 2, this is where I'm going. Page 3, these are my people. Page 4, this is my process. Like page 5, like this is how you can get involved. And it's like every single page really channels you into being like, cool, like this is exactly what I want from you. But they kind of come from the source all the way through to, yeah, this is the way that I can fit within Marc's vision. And that's what really drew me to you, because I could see so much, and like you say, like there was a lot of thoughts going on.
There's always a lot going on out there, buddy.
Yeah, and I want to really kind of bring it in to be like, it just doesn't, like you've got so much, and it can be easily communicated in the form of like 10 pages. That's it. A few illustrations, a few words, bosh, done. You know what I mean? Walk into any room, be like, this is me.
Wow.
Marc Convey, you know what I mean?
Fair play.
Yeah, we did that in like 4 hours.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, you brought it out of me, and actually looking back now, thinking, you know, how much we have achieved in terms of what we've done individually and together in the last month has been, something that we should be proud of. And they're very, very nice words. Thank you very much. You know, I do love connecting, and it's, you know, seeing a problem and a solution, and you know, it's just the way my brain has been trained, really, because of, you know, all the hurdles I've had to go through and all the adversity I've had to overcome. You know, there wasn't a path that I could follow. I had to figure so much stuff out for myself, and I embraced that freedom to be able to do that, to figure stuff out, and then you just train your mind to be able to like take that step back and have that perspective and see the landscape maybe more clearly than other people, and be like, right, that problem can be solved by a season, then we can get Marcus in there, and okay, we don't have a venue, I know people, that's good, and that, boom, 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 and just doing it, and I love doing that, and it's not an ego thing. You know, I've done a lot of work in the last few years about understanding my core values and sort of raising my level of consciousness, so trying to understand when your ego's in play, and this is not about, I just get deep satisfaction out of sitting back in my armchair and seeing that these things have happened. I don't need to then go and shout about it. And if people can get to that point in their lives where it just makes them feel good inside about putting some nice stuff out there into the world. For me, it's, you know, connecting, and you know, I want to now help people connect with their own stories, because that's the first and the most important connection that you can make is with yourself. If you build that first deep connection and that authenticity, and then from that first connection you create other connections out, then you've got a solid foundation of who you are as a person, rather than looking out into the world and trying to make all these connections and trying to make stuff happen to then try and find the last connection to make you feel okay. It's the wrong way around. It starts from here, doesn't start from out there.
Wow,
We got deep, man. We got deep.
Mate.
Yeah, absolute pleasure.
Awesome, man.
Dude, thanks, man. We shouldn't have gotten to know each other with all the things that the kind of butterfly effects and sliding doors and stuff, the stuff that had to happen this year.
Yeah.
To put in place for us to meet, to have the month that we've just had, and how we're going to support each other on our paths going forward has been a real joy. So thank you for everything that you're doing for yourself, for me, and for other people.
Yeah, and thank you, Mark, for being such a voice and a presence and a glow and a leading light towards brighter days.
Okay, I'm going to keep trying, mate. I'm just getting started.
Awesome, man.
Cool.
Peace out.
Later.